Okay, hi folks, and welcome to this session on supply and demand. So, supply and demand is a very crucial section in your study of microeconomics. You have to be able to explain what is supply, what is demand, and then also be able to illustrate the graphs as we're going to do in this recording. During our live sessions, we'll also get lots of practice on this. So go through the recordings and then come to the live session. We will discuss this in further depth, do examples, etc. Okay, so we begin with some terminology. What is quantity demanded? Okay, so you're going to hear this word quite a bit. Basically refers to the amount of any product that people are willing to buy at a certain price. So myself, I'm a big fan of cupcakes. And let's say the cupcakes at the store in Benmore Gardens, there's a little home industry store, are 10 Rand per cupcake. The quantity demanded is the amount of cupcakes that people are willing to buy at 10 Rand or 13 Rand or whatever the price may be. So we say that the law of demand means that there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So what we mean here is that as the price of a good drops, the amount people buy increases. And that's exactly how we derive the demand curve. So in this particular case, I've illustrated Starbucks coffee. And if you look over here at a price of 5 Rand or $5 a cup, we draw the line downwards. We see the quantity people are willing to buy at $5 is 4 Rand. However, if the price drops from $5 down to $2, and we take our little line across, we now see the quantity demanded has increased to 16 cups. So if we, draw a line through all these points, we get what is known as the demand curve. And as I said earlier, the amount that people are willing and able to buy at a certain price is the law of demand. And I said that there is an inverse or opposite relationship between price and quantity demanded. And that's exactly what you see here. As the price drops, the quantity people buy increases. And so lower price, higher quantity demanded. So as you can see here, we have this line that links up the different prices and quantities. Okay, and basically you can also see it in the table format here. All we did was we took the tabular information and we plotted it here. And that's basically the demand curve. So this is the shape of the demand curve, and it will always be this way because as the price of any item drops, consumers consume more or demand more because they think it is or they believe it is cheaper. Okay, then we have supply. Now, supply is where we talk about, sorry, this should be quantity supplied, apologies. Quantity supplied is the amount of a product that sellers are willing and able to sell at a certain price. Okay, so in a market, you get people who consume goods and then suppliers who produce goods. So we could talk about Apple as a supplier, and the quantity supplied of iPhones is the amount of iPhones that Apple is willing and able to sell at a certain price. Okay, now we're also going to look at the law of supply, and we're going to plot it. So in this case, we've now done Starbucks again, and we now look at it from the perspective of the firm, as in the producer Starbucks, and not from the perspective of the consumer. So as a supplier or firm, you go into business to make money. Okay, and therefore, as the price you can charge for your product increases, you will be willing to supply more. So if you look at Starbucks, if they're able to charge $1, then they'll say, okay, well, we'll supply 6 cups. But if they're able to charge $5, the supply or the amount they supply increases to 18 coffee cups. And again, like in the case of demand, if we quickly link up the points, we will see we will get a positive sloping curve. Okay, so don't worry about this right now. The lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied. So this is opposite to the demand situation. Remember, we always look at demand from the perspective of the consumer. So we look at this from the perspective of, I'll just quickly write it in here for you, of firm. Oops. Right. And we always look at demand from the perspective of the consumer. So as a consumer, you want lower prices, and as the price is lower, you are willing to purchase or demand more. As a supplier, when the price you can charge is low, you supply less, and when the price you can charge is high, you are willing to supply more. Okay, so from this basic recording, what must you understand? First of all, what is supply? What is demand? Be able to explain the difference between supply and demand, and then be able to explain why the demand curve is downward sloping and why the supply curve is upward sloping. Okay, in the next lesson, we get more into demand and supply, and we're going to look at shifts and movements of the demand and supply curve, and excess demand and excess supply. But before you get into that, please make sure you practice drawing these curves. You look at the examples in the textbook, and you come completely familiar, because the rest of the section now